My name is Nick Dress. I'm 34 years old. I am a part-time plumber, part-time electrician, part-time carpenter. Is that, you want individual clips? Do you want me to keep going? When someone calls you and asks you if you'd like to race a sailboat to Mexico, you're probably supposed to ask more questions than I did, but all I heard on the phone was, hey, our guy broke his collarbone. Do you want in?
The dockmaster from where we bought the boat originally, who I have not seen in 2 months, called me out of the blue, probably because I'm the one unemployed friend that would be able to do this, and said, hey, you want to go race a boat to Mexico on Friday? But my passport expired. We drove 4 hours from Vero Beach down to Miami to the Miami passport agency because in 48 hours, I'm going to be on a sailboat racing from Florida to Mexico, and can't do that without a passport.
Chances seemed slim, and when I showed up, there were hundreds of people filed out the door. But after 4 hours of being in Miami, I had my brand new passport in hand.
It's official. Horrible photo, but I've got a new passport.
He's going to Mexico, baby.
The one thing that the guys didn't tell me before I had said yes was there actually was a uniform requirement.
Oh my God, that is dirty. That is nasty, dude.
I don't really remember the last time I saw my face that far shaved down, but we had quite the group of guys. We got Sam, the owner, and the captain. Military guy owned the boat. He's the one that signed us up for the race. You got Greg, who's the one person that I knew, who was the dockmaster that has a ton of sailing experience. He runs Harborage Marina out in St. Pete. You got Samir, who was, thank God, a great cook and a great chef. The guy could find anything that we had on board, and he was whipping meals. And then we got Danny, who was from Spain, who works as a rigger, and basically the dude knows everything about everything when it comes to fixing a boat. So we basically had someone that could fix it, someone that could sail it, someone that owned it, someone that could cook, and yours truly, me, just kind of putzing around the boat. Before this race, I only had 10 days of experience. I had a captain come onto my boat and teach me to sail. I was expecting to learn a lot, but I think what actually happened on the trip ended up being a whole lot more than I bargained for before I stepped foot on that boat.
It is time to actually pack up the last little bits. I think we're about to go to Publix. We got to do our last little bit of provisioning, but here's the calm before the crazy. Absolute glass, no wind. A lot of these boats are going to be going to Mexico. A few more are down the street at the St. Pete Yacht Club, but yeah, we've got 4 hours, I guess, until race time. We don't really exactly understand the rules for the start. There's like a Group A and a Group B, a cruiser class and a racing class. I don't know. The explanations yesterday were not the most clear, but
the race that we were a part of was the Regata del Sol al Sol, which is like a pretty famous race on the West Coast. So basically it's like sister cities, St. Petersburg and Isla Mujeres, Mexico. Like, I can't remember how many years. We'll have to like put that stat up there, but it was like 50 years of this race, I feel like. And there were a lot of people that we met at the dinner who had done it 5 times, 7. I think there was one guy there that had done it like 12 times. And they broke us into 4 classes. So there was like a racing class and then a cruising class. And then there was an A and B of each one. And people who know sailing, racing, regattas will know this much better than I am. But I believe it had to do with like the length of the boat and the displacement, and then the sail area. So we had to submit our sail plan and what the surface area was, because that will directly relate to power and how fast your maximum speed is of the boat. And then the final question or tab for the class was whether you were a spinnaker or a non-spinnaker boat. And the hard thing is your handicap is set up by the surface area of all the sails. And even if you're not going to use that sail, if it's on board, it counts. So like we didn't have an opportunity to use some of our bigger sails, but they like count towards your class.
We're just gonna go out when they point at us, across that start line and get racing. But we have a few things left, so last things to get ready here, and it's race time.
So I think on day one we had a ton of excitement, adrenaline, nerves. Everyone was like fired up from the welcome dinner and the kickoff dinner, and I don't think anyone really slept well that night, just getting ready for it. But we woke up the morning of to no wind.
All right, the provisions are done. The crew has been fed. There's no wind. We're supposed to be kicking off in the next 1 to 2 hours, and we've got about 5 knots of wind. It's a little bit of an incoming tide. Not ideal conditions, but it's almost time. We literally have 30 to 60 minutes, then we're gonna be kicking off. So last minutes, we got one of our 5 guys taking a final on today, getting his master's. And then the rest of us are kind of scurrying around trying to be quiet for him while we get to the start line, which should take an hour, hour and a half, and then we kick off. All right, Captain, you're the first interview. How you feeling pre-race?
I feel pretty good. I'll feel even better when we're off the dock. The anxiety will sort of bleed away and the world will shrink to just this little piece of boat, you know?
They actually delayed the start from 9 to 10 to 11, and then it was a slow start. I mean, you're in a sailing race. It's not like cruising. There's no engines at all. So trying to time everything was a little bit difficult.
Regardless all competitors, good morning. The race committee has left the dock.
How are we feeling pre-race?
I'm ready for it to start.
Yeah.
I'm tired of the waiting.
Yeah.
That's the worst part. I just, a little more wind would be lovely.
I can't believe how calm it is.
It's going to be a slow slog out to the bridge, I think. Bangs released already? Yeah.
Went to raise the main and ran into an issue. The outhaul got caught right away.
Let me see. Oh, it's literally just jammed in here. Like I have slack underneath.
Oh. Race hasn't even started. Already fixing stuff. Although our problems are nothing. Someone already lost their electronics and we're all just kind of floating around here at the start line. Everyone's checking in with the pilot boat, hanging around. And we got Danny and Greg trying to figure out the outhaul.
And I didn't really know how a race was supposed to start. So basically you have like one boat that's out there that you have to check in with. Like you got to go past them X amount of times.
Hey crew. Good morning.
There we go, great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, actually.
Regardless all competitors. As you can see, the wind is a bit light. We are going to head south per the sailing instructions, so follow us.
Here we go. All right, so as that radio call just said, there is no wind. We got 0.7 knots, and yeah, kind of a little bit of a lackluster start. So they're moving us closer to the Skyway Bridge, and going to set up a new mark. As Sam was saying, they'll pick like a government marker, put the pilot boat or the race boat on the other side, and when it's your time, go through the gates and head out. But it looks like all the boats that were just spinning in circles out here, we're all heading a little bit further out now.
And then they have different whistles or guns that go off for the different classes of racers that there were. I mean, there were some boats that like, you basically have almost like in golf, a handicap, because there are some boats you're just not going to keep up with. They're so fast. So they're in a different class than you. And we did not time it right. You basically time it so that you're sprinting towards the line, trying to gain full speed so that when it goes off, you're as close to the line as possible and you cut through it. And when the gun went off, it took us a good couple of minutes to even get back to the line. We did not time it right.
So we are actually almost at the start line now in motoring. Last hour and a half, the wind is finally starting to pick up. We're getting to 10 to 12 knots, but we're literally sitting at under a knot of wind. So I think they're going to move the start line to right before the bridge.
Sails are all hoisted. Everyone, you can feel it. Everyone's on the radio. Everyone's chatting. We got the GPS and the maps up. Everyone's kind of like starting to track us. It'll be cool. I wonder how long we'll be able to see everybody before we actually start splitting off and everyone starts seeing. I really don't know. It's my first race. I don't really know what the strategy is. The first 2 days are going to be a little boring. I don't know, not a lot of wind, a little slow. And then it'll be 20 to 25 knots the rest of the way, but unfortunately the wind or the waves are going to pick up too. And so we're going to be bouncing. It's 5 to 7 foot swells and 5 to 7 second periods. And I think it's coming right on the nose. But we'll see. I got my patch on, scopal beam.
Samir came on at 12:30. Perfect. I'm fucking strong.
All right, starts at 3.
Dude, what is up, little buddy?
That isn't a good omen. I don't know what is.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark.
And we're racing.
Yeah. You're right on the money, man.
We ended up making up good ground. We set a good course to go onto the first bridge, and we were in first place for our cruising division when we went through the bridge. But it definitely got the competitive juices flowing, and it's cool to see all the boats kind of pointed in the same direction. I mean, we had, I don't remember what it was, 20 boats, however many. We had all those boats racing in the same direction. I think all the other fishing boats that were in the area was like, what the hell is going on today?
How far back? Just one?
Oh, hey, buddy. Oh, wow, cool. Bad initial start, and then turned into a pretty good start, at least for the first day.
Just like that, we are through the bridge, timed our tack perfectly, and now the regular shift changes are about to start. We're gonna rotate shifts every hour and a half, so you get one guy for an hour and a half, you get the next guy for an hour and a half, you're up there for 3 total. So, nap, food, and then I get an afternoon shift.
We had a couple of courses. They brought in some scientists and some NOAA guys in to talk to us about like the local currents and the winds and what was gonna be happening throughout the week. And it was all about the little eddy currents. You had 3 options. You could either basically turn south right away if the wind allowed for it, and then cut straight across the Gulf Stream to get over. You could kind of zig your way on a diagonal straight through, or you could head off directly west, going like closer to Texas, and then head straight south, so like cross the Gulf Stream first. So everyone was basically trying to figure out and say, hey, we've got to cross the Gulf Stream at some point. What's the most effective time to do it? Because if you got caught in the Gulf Stream, you were easily going to lose 1 or 2 knots to the current. And so the whole strategy relied on, could we pick up, the Gulf Stream isn't like a perfect line, it's kind of like an S. So at some point the current was going to be going with you, and at some point it was going to be going against you. And so the whole strategy was trying to maximize that. So Samir, our cook, was also our fisherman. He brought a hand line, which we needed to get for our boat. Like just any type of trolling, a rod or a hand line. And honestly, like why would you spend $1,000 on a rod when hand lines like this exist?
Hey.
Damn, nice.
Dude.
We did have a little bit of beginner's luck because we tossed it out there the first day and we caught a Spanish mackerel right off the bat. And like everyone was stoked.
Good, man.
We didn't end up catching another fish the entire time that we were out there. But
It's nice to have Samir catch that fish, pop up a little bit of dinner, and get a little bit of a snack right as my watch was ending. But 3 to 6 went really fast. We're making great time. We keep bouncing between 2nd and 3rd place for the cruising class right about now. And everyone's got different strategies, man. Like, it's crazy to watch the grid and see what everybody's been doing. Some people are heading west on a beam reach, and they are flying. They're going so much faster than us. They're going way out of the way. And then, you know, some people turn south. They're way ahead in terms of like miles, but the forecast keeps changing and it looks like the wind's about to die. And if that's the case, we're gonna get stuck. Yeah, this is the life. It's the race is cool. Definitely a different aspect than just kind of throwing the sails up and hey, if you're not trimmed perfectly, then whatever, you know. But every like 10 minutes, we're like readjusting, looking at the plan, making sure the wind is good, making sure the currents are good, seeing what everyone else is doing. Definitely different to have that competitive spirit added in there. But I gotta find a way to take a nap. I got 4.5 hours off, and then I jump back up at 10:30. So time to go and grab one more little snack and then pass out for a little bit.
So the sleeping conditions were rough. We had 3 bed options. You could either take the port settee, the starboard settee, or there was a V berth up front. And we always had 3 guys down and 2 guys up. So whatever guy was finishing up his shift would go down and wake up the next guy, and they would swap. That guy would get out of the bed. That was the only option that was open. And because we had an odd number, it was kind of always rotating. Like one shift you would go down, you'd have the V berth. The next shift, the starboard settee would be the one that would open up. The next shift, the port was. So you really didn't get to pick. It was whatever was available. But everybody knew they were only going to get good sleep on the shift where they had the starboard settee. The conditions were so bouncy for the first couple of days that if you got stuck in the V berth, you were getting tossed the whole time that you were up there. It was very uncomfortable. And because the way the weather had been situated, we were always leaned onto the starboard side. We had a port tack like the entire way. So if you were on the port settee, you were basically rolling off. There was no way that you were staying on there.
All right, it's about 11 in the morning, or 11 at night. Losing track of it here. I woke up about a half hour ago at 10:30. Greg and I are on this night watch together for the next hour and a half. It's dark out, but full moon, so we can kind of see everything up here. But the story of this watch is just looking for the wind. At this rate, the estimates are way off. Doesn't have us showing up on Monday, but we'll see if we can turn that around over the next 24, 48 hours. After coming up, took a look at the leaderboard again, and already a couple people have turned back, called it quits. They're not going to make it to Mexico, so hopefully that is not us. We're going to keep pushing through, and we'll see how the first 3 hours for the night goes here. I am going to go hit the hay immediately. I bet you my head's going to hit that pillow and I'm going to be gone. So it's nap time now.
Then I was asleep on the port settee, and I got smacked in the face with some kind of brownish yellow liquid that smelled terrible. And my first reaction was, oh my God, there's some kind of hose for like the sanitation or toilet hose that broke, and it is all over me, and what the hell just happened? Come to find out, we tried cleaning it, and it ended up being a like spoiled or expired chicken broth that had spilled into one of the kitchen cabinets and just sprayed all over the couch. But then in addition to having the side that was rolling off, all the cushions smelled like it, and you just couldn't escape the smell in the saloon below. Worst smell ever.
Alright, I'm back on watch. It got spicy while I was sleeping. Probably got 3, 4, and some 5-foot swells coming in. The winds picked up to about 20 to 22. Sea spray is everywhere up here. We got our rain jackets on now. But I started on the port side, up in the bow, kind of left side of the bed, and I was completely stretched out. And by the time I woke up, I was in a ball completely on the starboard side, kind of up against the wall. Sleeping up front just ain't fun, but we're just rotating, and whatever bed's open, you hop in. So hopefully I get one of the settees on the next one. They are way more comfortable to sleep in, but we're cooking now. I mean, we're getting to 6 knots. We're a little behind. Boat's just a little bit slower than our competition, which we got that bigger handicap, but yeah, we got a couple boats still in the distance right in front of us, a couple right behind us. Hopefully we can make up some time here, but from here on out, the wind just keeps picking up, and in the next 12 hours, it's gonna get met by a front
and wind speed picks up dramatically. It's going to be 20 to 25 knots, and we're going to be running instead of doing this close haul beat here. But yeah, the moon is up, the waves are splish splashing, and we're cruising now.
We had the first storm on day 2. Like, we literally finished our night watch. I had just come up at like 6 or 7 in the morning. It was pretty early in the morning. I was on watch with Greg, and I looked off in the distance and I saw it.
We got this coming from the north, and then it's gonna be pushing us down to Mexico, but that's the line we're running at.
And I think I had this moment of realizing what was about to happen, even though I didn't really know. And I turned around to look at Greg, and he was like, yep. And like, he was already like putting his foul weather gear on, asked me what I had brought, which I don't own any foul weather gear yet. So I had like my long sleeve sweatshirt and pants on, and just got rocked.
All right, storm finally found us. We knew there was gonna be a cold front coming back, and yeah, now we got some wind. We got a little bit of a high sea state, and the rain's probably coming. What do you think, Captain?
I think it's happening real soon.
Within minutes, the waves really picked up. The wind really like doubled. It kind of came out of nowhere. The rain felt like it was coming in completely sideways. We had reefed down a ton. What was I thinking? I was thinking, oh shit. I'm cold. I'm wet. I was just holding on to one of the lines, and Greg was like, you know, if a huge gust comes, just spill it. You know, I had the main sheet in my hand. I kind of looked at Greg and I was like, so what's the strategy here? And he's like, just keep the boat steady, point it towards clear skies. If you can't find that, let it blow over. And he just kind of like hand steered through it for like 30 to 45 minutes. And then before you knew it, it was gone. And yeah, I guess looking back and knowing what's to come, that was just like a little squall.
It's all right, Greg's an expert. He's got us. He's the expert. He's driving today.
But it was also exhilarating, like the adrenaline rush of having that storm hit and kind of making your way through it. So I don't know, I'm not gonna go seeking out any storms, but it was cool to get the first one under the belt with other people that kind of knew how to handle the boat. When I FaceTimed Em right after, I told her that I was already shopping for foul weather gear because I definitely don't want to do that again. Definitely being cold and wet in the cockpit when you can't leave and you're responsible for the boat is not fun. So that was going to be like upgrade number 1 before anything. Once we get out of the yard, was we're going to buy some like really nice stuff to keep us warm and dry. And then it was kind of like surprising that after the storm passed, it was beautiful for the rest of the day. Storms went by and it was nice and sunny. It was like an absolutely beautiful day, perfect wind, great conditions for sailing. But then I ended up getting seasick, so.
You're looking at the seasickness crew.
Old Team Chunks up and at it.
We seem to be getting soaked every time we're both in the cockpit. The rain is coming, the waves are splashing over. We're not leaving the cockpit dry, and yeah, both of us are the only two right now that are experiencing some crazy seasickness, which just makes sitting here at the helm that much harder. But the waves are definitely, you can't even tell, man. On the GoPro, you cannot even tell what the waves are. Yeah, now we're self-steering because our autopilot, the waves are like throwing it so far off of its course that the autopilot does not want to do what it's got to do. So everyone's taking their turn self-steering. We're finally headed straight south. Made our tack at some point early this morning. I think I was asleep when it happened. And yeah, now we got like 320 miles straight south to Mexico, and the wind should be behind us the rest of the way. I mean, we're finally hitting some good numbers. The first day, we barely broke 3 knots. Now we're basically 7 to 8 the whole way. This shift is all about trying to force feed myself something that won't make me throw up. I'm getting enough water in. It's a little bit miserable.
I definitely didn't realize how bad you could feel when you're seasick. I'm not someone who gets car sick. I've never gotten seasick before on the boat. In preparation to go out, I even got an Amazon prescription from like a Zoom doctor to get the scopolamine patches, and I took them preventatively, and I still got sick. For 36 to 48 hours, I didn't drink. I couldn't hold down water. I don't think I ate for like 2 days straight. I was throwing up every single time that I was not horizontal. And I think the hardest thing about being seasick is when you're the one responsible for the boat. Just because I was seasick didn't mean my shifts stopped. Like, I still had to go up there for my, 3-hour shifts, and on that 3-hour shift, an hour and a half of it was sitting at the helm. And when you are holding the helm and looking at the route and paying attention to the weather and, looking at the waves, oh man, like being seasick is like the worst thing that could, be added to all of that. Almost like pleading with Poseidon of like, why is this happening to me? I wish I could just be on land, get me to Mexico as fast as possible type thing. As soon as it finally broke and I had that first meal stay down and I was drinking water again, and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm on a boat. We've been out here for a couple days. We're sailing. It's beautiful weather. We're just hanging out with the guys. Then I was glad again that I was still on the boat.
Everybody says.
Just enjoy it.
Scared the out of me.
That's good. I hit record right as it did it.
Good, bud.
Thank you, brother.
And the birds, that was one of the coolest parts of the whole trip. So at this point, we were 200 or 300 miles offshore. And we saw this one little bird flying around. Did not look like a seabird. Have no idea where this little dude came from. And he kept circling the boat, and he'd like land on one of the lifelines or one of the sails, or sit on the boom. And then he flew inside. Like, it started raining, so he flew inside, and he was just sitting on like one of the little that we had up there. We were like, okay, like, it's crappy weather. We want to sleep too, dude. You're safe here. So like he looked like he was spending the night. And there were like 4 or 5 more of them. Just like all in, like he brought his friends. They were all floating around and like said, hey, this is a safe boat. You can come over here. And we should have seen this coming because they're birds, but they everywhere. And then we also had our second animal sighting after the birds, and we saw more dolphins than I've ever seen in my life. All the way out in the middle, this one dolphin came up to us, which I thought was weird, this far offshore that there would be one dolphin. They travel in their pods. And he kind of came up and he was bouncing around, and before you knew it, there were 100 of them. Behind us, left of us, right of us, 10, 12 at a time jumping in front of us. I had never seen, it's like a super pod of dolphins, and they stayed with us for a good 10, 15 minutes jumping all over. Then they left just as quickly as they came, and they were gone. Kind of joined the ride for a good 10 minutes, surfing in our wake, big waves, and then disappeared.
All right, so we just made one of our final turns, and we crossed over the elbow of the Gulf Stream. So the currents are kind of getting into clockwise and counterclockwise actions. And so we kind of rode right down the middle of both of them that picked up speed. We were really hitting like 8 and 9 knots consistently for half the day. And then now we're crossing over the elbow to get to the west side of the Gulf Stream. It should take us 12-ish hours at the speed we're going. The big thing now that we're looking at is once we get to the other side of the Gulf Stream, over the next 36 hours, the wind completely dies. So if we don't make it before it dies, we're going to be going really slow across that finish line. And I think the name of the game is just don't get tired, sleep when you're off, and think about margaritas and tacos waiting for you on the other side.
I think there's probably a lot that is misunderstood about offshore sailing, because the sailing isn't really the hard part. The hard part is the decision making.
Well, we are on the morning of, let's see what we do. We left Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We are on Monday morning. We thought we were going to be rolling in Monday, but the wind was not as strong. And the name name of the game for me has been just fighting off the seasickness. I have not been feeling well the last 24 hours. But we had a little hectic start to the day as I went down for my night watch. The guys were trying to turn the engine on. We're allowed to have the engine on just for DC charging. And our generator stopped working, so we were going to turn the engine on. But there was a lot of water mixed in with the fuel, so they had to spend a couple hours trying to separate out the water and get the engine cooking again.
The hard part is the decision making while you're tired, while you're stressed, while things are breaking around you. It's the ability to keep your cool and keep your stress levels down and make those decisions so that things don't compound and get worse. The ability to route plan, to look at weather, to find the good patches that you should sail through and then trim your sails. Let's call it what it is. That's table stakes. Like, that's the bare minimum to be out there. The reality on this trip was that, we had electrical issues. So then we brought the generator out. And then the generator took a huge rogue wave that we didn't see coming, and the generator went out. And then we had power issues. So then we decided we had to turn the autopilot off and hand steer the rest of the way. And then those electrical issues compounded more. So we made the executive decision halfway through to turn the fridge off because the fridge was taking so much electricity. So then by the end of the trip, we were eating just dry goods instead of, the nice food that we had had. And then morale started to go down. Like, all of these things kind of compound. So it's the ability to keep cool while you're out there, to fix all those things and keep making smart decisions to safely make it through the passage. I think everyone just thinks you got to be a good sailor and figure out how to trim the sails and get away from the storms. And that's part of it. But to me, that's a smaller part of it. That's just the table stakes.
What are we feeling? You say whatever the hell you want, man. How are you feeling after the first 3 days?
Very fun, very hard, very demanding.
How you really feeling?
I really thought it was day 7 already.
Yeah. There are times that just fuck what I'm doing here, but I think it's part of the experience. I mean, nothing, even people that climb a mountain or do any sport, there are times that they suffer-ish a little bit, and that makes part of the experience and make it rewarding, because easy things sometimes are boring, so complicated things are what keeps us real and excited. Sometimes a little bit too much exciting, but it's part of the experience.
It's type 2 fun. I'm just happy to not be seasick. I think I finally got my sea legs after 3 days. We'll see once this bacon goes down if that stays the same.
I agree with that. Sometimes it's the little things in life. Right now, the smell of bacon, I think, is a morale booster that we all needed.
A little bit.
Dude, that was what we were waiting for, man.
Oh,
Bacon.
oh my God.
I think seeing some of the things that went wrong on the boat and seeing some of the decisions that had to be made on the boat made me realize things that are more important than I had thought. A lot of our problems spiraled from the electric, which we're already having problems with our electric system, so this is a great time for us to beef it up. But just having enough electricity, having redundancies in terms of charging and having multiple ways to charge, I think would have alleviated some of the downstream pressures and stresses that we had. And then I think the second biggest learning was the spares. Being smart enough and resourceful enough to fix things is a great skill in and of itself, but you can only then get so far as you have spares and parts on board. And so I think those are my two biggest learning lessons. Sure, I learned better sailing and better trimming and learned about route planning and stuff, but I think what I look about sailing differently is again, it's more than that. That's the table stakes. A lot of sailing comes down to prep. A lot of sailing comes down to the planning. A lot of sailing comes down to all the parts and the stuff that you already have on the boat. And ultimately, it just makes decisions down the line that much easier to make.
Can you sing while you play?
No.
I was gonna say my brain would not be able to figure out all of them. We finally got a different sail up, switched the plan, and now the spinnaker's out. Light wind day, and she's gonna pull us to Mexico.
I think at the beginning I felt like I was just another body, you know, so that the real sailors could get their rest and not have to swap the shifts as much. But I think around day 3 or 4, after the seasickness passed and I kind of like understood our sail plans, and it's a different boat, right? Like it was a catch rig, and so I don't know, I think around day 4 I started kind of figuring it out, was able to have more of a say into like the sailing plans and trying to make sure we crossed the Gulf Stream, got out of the current, and yeah, I don't think it was until the back half that I started coming to my own and was able to actually help out a little bit more.
All right, the finish line is in sight, and I think I hit REM for the first time, honestly, in a week, because when I got woken up, it was such a jolt. I felt like I was finally getting rested. But we are on the home stretch, man. We probably have between like 80 and 100 miles left. Greg and I were just talking about this, man. How nice the trip would have been if it would have been just like this. I don't know if it'll come through on the camera, but the sea state is completely calm. No waves, no rocking, no rolling, no getting absolutely tossed and feeling seasick. And we're still going really fast, comparatively. Like 6 or 7 p.m. last night, we made the decision to get a little bit more outside the Gulf Stream so that we could pick up a little bit of speed. So we lost an hour going sideways, but then we basically doubled our speed. We're close. Yeah, we're just at the point now where we're out of electricity.
One of the things that we had to decide on while we were out there was, in the effort of saving electricity, we actually turned our Starlink off. So we had our GPS working in the background. We would turn Starlink on for like 15 minutes every couple of hours so that we could send out notifications to everyone. But our electrical consumption was just too much. We weren't getting enough sun. We had broken the generator. The engine, you know, we weren't charging off the engine. And so one of the, you know, energy saving things was to turn Starlink off, and that was tough. Like as a morale thing, to be able to talk back to land and tell everyone, you know, like where you are and safety wise, like it was really hard to like completely cut the cord and be out there. But again, it's just like, it's one of those things where you had to look at the whole, right? Like the greater good of like getting all the way through the passage and making it out. So those are like the hard decisions that you got to make while you're out there sailing. And she was really worried about me, so it was really hard to not have that Starlink and let everyone know. I mean, literally, we had like 15 to 20 minutes a day where I could be like, hey, this is where we're at, this is what's going on, and then all of a sudden, like, just be gone for the next 24 hours.
We're cooking again. We turned on Starlink to do just a quick update for all the family and friends, because for 2 or 3 hours today, we were going backwards. And we finally got wind. Greg's killing it on the helm.
Got this.
Fucking cruising.
Next 15 minutes.
He's got us pointed towards Mexico again. And after a little bit of backwards navigation there, the mustache men are heading towards tequila and tacos.
Yay!
And we're ready. So now we're just about to get back on shift. And hopefully we're arriving in Mexico tomorrow. How many miles? Does anyone know how many miles we got? Like 70? 80?
That we calculate that, we lost all the weight.
Yeah. All right, we'll get to Mexico in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah, this morning was like...
No more math.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow evening? Yeah, tomorrow morning. Famous last words.
It's been a ride. But that little lean is 6 knots faster towards Mexico.
I don't think I have one impressive. I think everyone impressed me Probably besides me, the newest guy to sailing was probably Samir. He had gotten his boat just a little bit before we did. Him and his wife are fixing their boat up, and all these guys live in that same marina that we had started as. And Samir, like with the fishing, catching, cooking, getting everything ready, and he knows what he was doing sailing, like huge chops to him to have someone like him on the boat. Danny, working in the boating industry, he's done every type of job. Like he understands the plumbing and the electric, and he's done rigging. And every time that we broke something, like Danny was for sure the guy that would know how to fix it. And then you have Greg, who's probably sailed and piloted more boats and just navigated more boats than the rest of us. Like he was the one that knew everything about sail trimming, angles of like the attack, the wind. Like, I mean, Greg was the sailor. He probably knew more about sailing than any of us on the boat. And then Sam, he's the one that put it all together. He was the captain. He made a lot of the hard decisions while we were out there. A great sailor in his own right. We really had kind of an eclectic group, and everyone brought their own strengths to the trip.
What was your part?
I was a personality hire. And I don't know, what did I do? I played chess. Maybe I cooked one meal. I don't know. I was there to drink as much beer and eat as much tacos as possible when we made it to Mexico.
It would be the second time a bird's knocked off my antenna.
That is so cool. No, I mean, give us the update, Captain. What's going on with this race? Where the hell are we?
We are 20 miles from the finish line. And unfortunately, we've got to fight a pretty heavy current on the way there, so we'll be tacking a lot. Good news is we've held our standings, and I think I've figured out how to steer this course. I think we'll be set up for second.
Let's go. After being by ourselves for the last week out in the middle of the Gulf, Midnight Sun, a boat that we thought had gotten lost out there, is now only 4 miles behind us. So we're setting ourselves up for a photo finish here. Make sure we can hold them off. And yeah, land is in sight, competitor in sight, and now it's a race. You alive? You alive? Did you see land first before you went to bed? No, didn't make it out. Oh man. All right, now the adrenaline's pumping. I can't sleep for the last couple hours.
After 5 or 6 days, oh, it was so nice. We came up on land in the dark, so we didn't really like realize what was happening. And then I woke up to the guys talking about it at like 6 or 7 in the morning, where we could actually see kind of the peninsula. We saw the lighthouse, and it was awesome. But then we still had like another 12 hours before we actually pulled in. So we were probably 2 or 3 miles offshore for the last little bit. There was that initial like dopamine and excitement of like, oh my God, here's land. And then it was kind of like, oh, but we got a whole day of sailing to get there.
I do not know it, but I would love to get it recorded.
Let's grip it and rip it. There once was a ship that put to sea. The name of the ship was the Billy of Tea. Went up her bow, up down below, my bully boys go.
Soon may the weatherman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. She had not been 2 weeks from shore, and down on her a right whale bore. The captain called all hands and swore to take that whale in tow.
Regatta del Sol also racing team. This is sailing vessel Allegria. Over.
We need you to close your head valve, start your engine just prior to the finish. The finish is located at the Navy boat to starboard and the white buoy to port.
Seeing land was great. Seeing the port and the military boat was even better. And pulling up to the port and getting greeted by a bunch of smiley people that handed us Tecate, rum, Coke, a big bag of ice. We hadn't had cold anything in a whole week. Yeah, what a welcome committee pulling up to the customs dock in Mexico. That was awesome.
Oh, that's a sight for sore eyes right there. Ice and beer? Fuck yeah. We made it, and we got greeted with beer.
and ice. Woo!
This is the live version, but
It's a
close enough.
Oh, dude. Something actually ice cold in here.
Alright, we need a cutting device. Okay.
Cold freaking beer. Absolute reward after being out in the Gulf for 6 days. 500 something miles of sailing. And I fly back and it's right back to boat projects. So
Overall, this was one of the best experiences of my life. I still can't believe how lucky I was through all of it. Just sometimes the right people and the right opportunities just line up for a reason. And made a friend in Greg. You know, we only stayed at that marina for 2 weeks after we bought the boat before we decided to move it to this side to be closer to Em's family. And him and I became good enough friends after the 2 weeks, and you know, maybe me being the one unemployed friend that was available played a part in it. But the fact that he gave me the call and asked me to come with, like, just would be remiss if I didn't say a huge shout out to Sam and the captain for letting us come with, and or letting me come with. Like, it just, again, absolutely great opportunity. Enjoyed hanging out with all the guys, Sam, Greg, Danny, Samir. Like, it was just an awesome week spent together on the boat. And honestly, having something like this early in my sailing career, like, it just a tremendous help to getting started. Honestly, the experience really fired me up. It's hard to go from that kind of experience in the sailing to then slowing down and being back here in the yard working on all the projects. Boats are not meant to be up on these sticks in the harbor. They're meant to be in the water, and I can't wait to get back out there and take our sailing. So yeah, let's get back up on the boat. We got some projects to finish, and let's get this baby back on the water.